Good day, fellow tubers, and welcome to my tiny little home in Livingston, Montana. Let me tell you, there's something inherently gross about that greeting, fellow tubers. Just don't sound right, but don't get all twisted because I'm just kidding you. Anyway, today's date, to show you that I'm somewhat responsible, is January 2nd of 2021. Notice I didn't screw that up and say 2020. 2021, second day of 20. Anyway, right off the get-go here, let me just say this. I certainly hope this year of 2021 is better than last year. I really did. I think that the year of 2020 was probably one of the worst years I ever seen in my life except for my Vietnam days. That's fact. But anyway, let me move on here. I want to get through this video. It's not a very important video, but it may touch somebody. It may help somebody. And that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. The topic here, I'm going to call this video the Firearm Rabbit Hole or the Fool's Guide to Buying Firearms or something along this line, Because okay, what I'm going to do here is just quickly show you my very small, dumbed down, not very good, not very adequate. Well, I've got an adequate enough for me, but not, definitely nobody's prize firearm or pistol collection. Let me show it to you real quick here. This is my oldest pistol right here. It's a Glock 20, 10mm auto. I probably bought this 8 or 9 years ago. I packed this a lot. I packed this in a survival pack. I've been in the woods with it lots of times. I mostly have this pistol right here for grizzly bear protection. It's just that simple. And anybody else that wants to get cute with me. But we won't talk about that so I don't freak anybody out. Okay. The second pistol of any importance that I've got here is one I just recently acquired. Excuse me. I'm talking too fast because I'm trying to rip through this video. But I already did a sit down on this. This is an LCP2 380 auto. Okay, made by Ruger. Pretty nice old pistol. I liked it, so I horse traded for it. Okay. Here's a pistol I've come to grow to like quite a bit. A lot of people, firearm addicts and stuff like that wouldn't even look twice at something like this. This is a High Point 45 ACP. It's got a pretty, convincing hole there in that barrel, 45 caliber. But, yeah, it's a High Point, and I gave, let's see, what did I get for this? I gave around $155 to $60 or something. Yeah, it was like $155 to $160 over at Bob Ward's and Sons in Bozeman is where I got this pistol. Okay. And well, I'm at it here. Years ago, you can't get them for this now, but years ago when I picked up this Glock 20, I bought it at Sportsman's Warehouse in Bozeman, Montana, and I'd give $5.50 for this. I know they're a little bit more than that now. And this guy right here, like I say, I horse traded for this, but the retail price I happen to know firsthand was around, real close to $400. It was $390 to be frank with you. Okay, and the last pistol I own, I only own 4 of them. I'm kind of screwing this up, but I'm trying to get through this. This is a 40 Smith & Wesson, okay? I give $200 for that right here in town. I think I paid a bit too much for this pistol, but, I better put this, well, I don't have this thing loaded anyway, come think of it. I seen the safety was off, but these High Points, they're cheap pistols, but they're not bad. They're kind of bulky and like that, but they'll get the job done. You got to break them in and kind of beat on them, and they're not real, smoothed in like, they're not custom pistols, but they're the farthest thing that you can get from custom pistols. But if you're a poor kid like me, whatever have you, think about High Point, okay? That's all I got to say, Okay, that's my 4 pistols right there. 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, a 380, a Ruger 380, and a Glock 20, 10 millimeter. That Glock 20, I mostly got it not for self-protection so much, but, well, yeah, for self-protection against them grizzly bears. And we got them here in Montana. Don't make no mistake about this stuff. Anyway, why I'm here, it wasn't really to show off those, but it was to show you, it was to demonstrate that I have a very small inventory of pistols. The reason being is I cannot afford to just keep buying one pistol right after the other. My household budget doesn't allow that. Sure, I could put them on layaway and all this stuff, but I'm just being honest with you. And the reason why this whole miserable subject came up, a poor man's buying buying points for firearms, or whatever I'm going to call this video, is the fact that, a week or so ago, maybe 10 days or so ago, I had somebody get a hold of me wanting me to recommend a firearm to them. And, and it got me to thinking about a whole lot of things when I went down this firearm or this pistol rabbit hole, because here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I got to be very blunt about this, because, one thing after the other started occurring to me once I was doing a bunch of research for this individual I'm talking about that needed me to recommend a pistol to them for their particular needs. But I got to thinking about all the people on YouTube. There's a lot of people I know that seem to have a ton of pistols, either that or they're sponsored or whatever have you. But I know one thing about firearms. It can be an addiction. And, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I used to work with this old welder years ago, and he told me flat right out, this is when I, first started to get my family going, and, I'm trying to buy a rifle or two for hunting and different things like this. And this guy told me, his name was Clyde, and he told me flat out, he said, Jim, I got to the place with firearms, buying too many of them and stuff, that I had to, or building up. He was one of these kind of guys that was really into reloading and building up, really strong, accurate rifles and all this stuff. Clyde told me that he got to the point where he had to make a decision whether he wanted to keep on with his firearm addiction or put shoes on his kids' feet. I'm going to let that soak in for a minute, because I know what I know. The smartest thing that you can do when it comes to firearms, like I was telling this individual that was, talking to me about all this stuff, is know what you need that firearm for. Because if you don't need it for much, well, I guess it probably won't matter. But, you're going to have to seek out help or advice or do whatever, but you need to find out exactly what you got in mind, what you need that pistol for. You need to decide if you, like in this case here, pistols, not rifles so much, but you need to know the configuration, what you're going after, whether it be a wheel gun, a revolver, a semi-auto loader. These were all semi-auto loaders I showed you, okay? But you need to get that solved. You need to get the caliber solved. And it all boils down to needs. And because this individual asked for my help, didn't want very little recoil, didn't want very much muzzle blast, didn't want the firearm to be too heavy, and on and on and on. All these nitpicking things like this that drive a guy nuts. Because I know, I've been in this game long enough to know that you can slide in to a pistol. Even if it don't quite fit you just right, you can get used to a lot of things if you have to. I'm just not rich enough to go out and buy, $2,000 and $3,000 911s and on and on and on like that. So that's why I personally got a very pathetic a pistol collection. But then again, I know that the best thing for me is to just have a pistol that can get my jobs, my tasks, my protection, my grizzly bear paranoia and all that stuff taken care of. You see what I'm getting at? Because the last thing in the world, unless you're a meanie or something like that, but the last thing in the world is to recommend some goopy pistol to somebody that they can't handle, it doesn't fit with them, It doesn't fit their needs and all that stuff. Of course, if you're a SOB, well, I guess, that's the way it's going to go. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I hope you guys know what I'm getting at here. And this individual that I've been trying to help has been very, very difficult because, I've had to try to, I've been all over YouTube looking at the various pistols that I think that this individual should probably get into to fit their task. And I know I've said that 3 or 4 times by now, but, fit their needs as it's been explained to me. But, the thing about me is I really do know more about long guns than I do pistols. I just kind of dink around with these pistols. The only one I take real serious and make sure that it's operating well, which it's never, ever failed on me in all the years I owned it, and that's that Glock 20. And you call me a Glock fanboy, I don't care. Because I have got to have a reliable pistol, and Glock makes some reliable pistols. I don't care what you people say. I've shot hundreds and hundreds of rounds through my Glock, my 10mm auto, no problems whatsoever. It's really, when you get right down to it, it's the only pistol I really need for my outside stuff, for guarding my house here, and whatever have you. So what I'm trying to tell you, it's my best advice, no matter what you do, know what you're doing, pick out a decent pistol, anything to keep you from buying one pistol, then trade it off, buying another one. I think that's personally a loser's game. You need to find out what's best for your needs and go from there. You'll save a lot of money, and don't get into this thing called firearm addiction. Because I know it exists. I realize that a lot of guys here on YouTube and whatnot have you sponsored. Sometimes I wish I was. I'd be going out there shooting all day long. But I'm not sponsored. I don't try to make YouTube. I don't try to make money off of YouTube. Everything I do is totally free. I don't work too hard at these videos. I just sit down and start running my gums and hope that I can make some sense, okay? So I just thought I'd throw these few tips in there, because if you ever get tangled up with somebody else's firearm needs, you're going to see the rabbit hole that I just got done climbing out of. That's a fact, because, this individual I've been trying to help has got some personal problems, and I am not going to do anything more until these personal problems are resolved. It's just that simple. I don't need somebody freaking out about something when they're dealing with firearms. That's another safety no-no, So there you are, and here I am up here on miserable, oh, good God, man, 13 minutes. I don't like that number. I'm suspicious. The number 13 was a number of the Vietnam War, and ever since I found that out, the United States government, by the way, names every war that we've been into, and the Vietnam War was the 13th war that the United States government ever waged on anybody. That's fact. Starting all the way back to the Spanish, what did they call it, the Spanish-American War and the Civil War, and all that stuff. There was lots of little wars way back in our history that a lot of people have forgotten about, or don't know about, or don't care, Okay, I can see I'm coming up on 14 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your attention, fellow tubers. Just kidding, don't get tight. And we shall see you on down the trail. I hope this is a better new year. I really do. Okay, adios, my friends.